In this video, I'm going to rank every single charge item in Fortnite history from worst to best. But what constitutes a charge item, right? Well, these are weapons that don't shoot once you press the trigger. You press the trigger and there is some sort of delay, a charge up something, and then the weapon will fire. Just there has to be a delay once you press the trigger. Obviously, there is no one place on the internet for every single charge item in Fortnite just listed out, so I had to go through every single weapon individually. And so there is a slight chance I could have missed something on this list, and if I did, be sure to let everybody know in the comment section down below. And if you do go on to enjoy this video, be sure to leave it a like, subscribe, use code TYFRYZ in the Fortnite item shop as always. And yeah, let's get into it. This is a fun one. At my number 12 spot, the worst charge item in Fortnite history, it is Bender's shiny metal ray gun. And you know what? I'm also going to throw Chimera's ray gun in here too. They do the exact same thing, except Bender's does one more damage. So, you know, in some lists, I'll keep them separate. This one, I'm going to put them together. It just makes sense for, you know, what they are. And these are charge items, as you'll notice, once you press the trigger, it has to like pull the gun up and almost like start the beam before it can go out. It may not be, you know, what you conventionally think of when you hear of, you know, charge Fortnite items, but regardless of that, these two weapons are very, very bad. You should really not be taking them over anything. And to me, they were an easy last place pick. Moving on to number 11 is an interesting one. I'm actually going to put every single chapter 2 season 6 bow here. You know, obviously I wasn't going to go through and rank every single bow. I've literally made a video doing that, so go check that out if you want to see those rankings. But I did still want to make this video. So a lot of the chapter 2 season 6 bows function very similarly, so I kept them all together here as one. There are some better, like the mechanical shockwave bow, and then there are some worse, like, you know, I don't know, the makeshift bow. Also, this does include the exotics, so I believe that was the unstable bow, and I think the grapple bow was added in chapter 2 season 6. It's a possibility it was chapter 2 season 5, but okay, you guys get what I'm saying here. My argument is just that the majority of bows are bad than they are good, but you'll notice the boom bow is not included in here. I'm keeping that separate, and that's for a big reason, which I'll get to when I get there. Moving on to the number 10 spot is the Charge SMG, one of the weapons that spawned the idea for this video. And the charge factor works for a number of weapons. It works really well for something like the charge shotgun, something like the railgun, but for an SMG, it just does not play out. It really works best on single fire items, but the mechanic of loading up, I don't know, like half your mag and then letting it go and shoots all those like insanely fast, and you have to recharge up the rest of the bullets and then reshoot all those. It's just too slow. It's never going to work at close range. The only way that this weapon is effective, I'm telling you, this is when it is really, really good. It has one of the highest DPSs in Fortnite history, is when you know someone's coming around a corner, for example. Like you just charge up the full mag, just hold it, wait by a door, someone walks in, you are going to absolutely delete them. And when used in the right situations, the Charge SMG can actually be really good. I just feel like there's barely any situations where I would rather take the Charge SMG than just a regular firing SMG. And that's exactly why it is quite low on this list. Moving on to number 9 is going to be Chapter 2 Season 4's Dr. Doom Mystical Bomb. I guess you could also consider the Mystical Bomb from Chapter 5 Season 4 as well. And you know what? It's a decent item. You know, it does what it's supposed to do. You get the fire damage, you get your big, I believe it was 60 damage, I think. You also get, you know, splash damage as well. And it's also infinite. It just charges up over time. Obviously, you know, it takes a little bit of time to actually get the ball of arcane over your head and then to throw it. And that is obviously why it is on this list. It is clearly a charge item. It's not great, but it's also not terrible as well. And a little spoiler alert, this will not be the last superpower on this list. But this is where I feel like the list turns over into some pretty solid weapons, and at that number 8 spot is the Cybertron cannon from Chapter 4 Season 3. This is a launcher that I never ever talk about in my videos. I really can't remember the last time I talked about the Cybertron cannon, and that's because it really doesn't fit into any categories besides, like, you know, collab items or launchers, and so I never get the opportunity to talk about it, but it's actually really good. You have to hold down the trigger, and then obviously that charges up this giant, you know, energy blast, and you shoot it. It has infinite range. I don't know if you guys know that. It does not fall at all. It just goes in a straight line 200 meters away. You can shoot somebody with it. It has no fall off, and that's what makes it really, really good. You get 110 damage, big time splash damage. The only thing that really holds it back for me is that this thing sends you flying backwards, and if you're on high ground, it is a very real possibility that you shoot the Cybertron cannon, it flies you off your builds, and you die to fall damage. It is really just like a cooler kind of reskinned RPG, and that's not a bad thing. That is a very good weapon. This weapon is one of the, you know, shining stars of Chapter 4 Season 3, I would argue. But moving in just a season later at Chapter 4 Season 4 is the Rocket Ram at my number 7 spot. This is a really cool mobility item. Obviously, when you have it in your hand, you gotta hold down the trigger and your character just kind of sits there, you know, charging up the ram, and then you just go like shooting like a cannon in the air. It's really, really cool. And it's also great mobility mobility. I'm sure you guys can imagine why it was hard to rank this. You know, almost every item on this list is just a straight weapon, and then you have a mobility item in here. So, you know, how does that fare against the other weapons? It's really hard to rank it. And while the rocket ram is really good, it's just, it takes a while to charge it up, and it's not like a shockwave grenade where at the snap of a finger you can throw at your feet and get out of there. The rocket ram takes time to charge up, and so, you know, if you're getting pressure in the box and you want to get out of there, well, you're going to be sitting there for, you know, 2 to 3 seconds with that ram just holding it out. And the amount of times that I died just sitting there with that ram is way too many times than I'd like to admit. Moving on to my number 6 spot is going to be just the base minigun. Of course, this will include the mythic versions, which also makes it very hard to rank. Sometimes I think, you know, should I keep the mythic separate? Should I not? Obviously, you have RG's minigun and Bruce's minigun, which are incredibly strong, and then you have the regular purple minigun and also the legendary one, but more so the purple one, which isn't as strong. But I should note here, this does not include the sideways minigun. I promise you guys, I went onto YouTube, I watched sideways minigun gameplay. It shoots as soon as you press the trigger, but the minigun, obviously, you got to spin that barrel around before you can fire. There's a short delay, and therefore it qualifies on this list, but the sideways minigun does not. I promise you guys, go watch some gameplay. You know what you're getting out of the minigun, right? You're getting a ton of bullets down range, you're spammy, but you know, you're kind of limited in your mobility. You are kind of a sitting duck when you're shooting this thing, but you can get aggressive with it. It has a ton of good uses, and the minigun, overall, a very good weapon. At number 6 is the final superpower of this video. It is the Unibeam from Chapter 2, Season 4, and to a lesser extent, also the Unibeam from, I believe it was the combat kit in Chapter 5, Season 4. They did the exact same thing. You get to shoot through walls. That is absolutely insane. You get a ton of damage, and you get infinite uses of it. I guess my only real complaint here is you are just such a sitting duck with that Unibeam. When you use this thing, you just sit there in air, charge up, and just wait for it to shoot, and you can so easily get taken down before you even release the Unibeam. And simply put it, in my opinion, I think there is a weapon that uses the beam style mechanic just a little bit better, and that weapon at number 4 is the railgun. Now, the railgun I think is better than the Unibeam for several reasons. One, you don't just have to sit there and wait. You can strafe left and right while the beam is charging up. You can, you know, sit behind a wall or a stair and then peek at the last second. With Unibeam, you obviously can't do that. You can also use it more consecutively quicker. Obviously, the Unibeam takes time to charge up these shots after you use them. With the railgun, you can fire at your heart's content now. Obviously, the railgun has limited ammo. It uses heavy bullets, whereas the Unibeam just, well, has infinite ammo. Also, I just think it benefits so much from the recon scanner being in the same season. Now, if you had the recon scanner in Chapter 2, Season 4, and combine that with the Unibeam, maybe we're talking about a different ranking here, but the Unibeam did not have that constant reveal, constant recon every single second. You know where people are through walls, and then you have a weapon that can shoot through walls. The railgun obviously significantly benefits from having the recon scanner in its season. We move onwards though to number 3, and we got to talk about the plasma cannon, again from Chapter 2, Season 7. This weapon is just the epitome of what Chapter 2, Season 7 was. It is such a crazy weapon, and again, another one that I don't really get to talk about that often. But I mean, how do I even go about, you know, like explaining this weapon, right? You have to charge it up by pressing, you know, whatever your fire button is. It charges it up. It then shoots a giant plasma ball, which then flies, you know, slowly for a couple seconds. It absolutely eviscerates anything in its path. The ball itself is then surrounded by like a dome, which then deals, I think it was like 33 damage a tick to not only vehicles, opponents as well. It knocks them back. This weapon is absolutely chaotic. Notably, you do only get 5 shots, and that is really, to me, what kind of holds it back on this list from being any higher. I mean, obviously, it's pretty high at number 3, but it doesn't have infinite ammo like a lot of the other items on this list. It is just such a wacky weapon, but don't let that fool you. It is really good. This is the ultimate, like, get out of that box area. If you know where somebody is and you want them to move, just shoot it, and they're forced to, or else they're gonna die. There aren't a lot of weapons in Fortnite history that can just, you know, like, brute force somebody out of where they are, but this weapon's one of them. But I do think it's beaten out by the boom bow from Chapter 1, Season 8. Now, this is an item I've talked about in a couple recent videos, so I'll try and keep it as brief as possible, but I do want to explain why I kept it separate than the other bows on this list. The boom bow is considerably different than the Chapter 2, Season 6 bows for a couple of reasons. I would say, for one, it uses shotgun shells. That makes it a lot better than using arrows, which are a very limited ammo type in that season. Using shotgun shells, you know, you're always going to have like 100+ shells, so you never have to worry about ammo with the boom bow. It also does like 150 damage, 115 I think it was, on like an area of effect. That's absolutely insane, and no other bow in Chapter 2, Season 6 even comes close to doing that damage. Most of them were around, you know, that like 70 to 90 damage range, and so to me, it just felt so much different than those bows that I had to put it in a different spot. You know, I couldn't be caught, you know, putting the boom bow at the number 11 spot on this list. Like, that thing is just way too good to be that far down. You can treat it as a sniper and do just as good, if not better, than any other sniper. In the hands of a skilled multiplayer, the boom bow is, in my opinion, one of the most feared weapons ever. Also, the fact that it's basically silent, right? You don't shoot it, it's just a bow. I really do, like, truthfully have a tough time finding a complaint about the boom bow. It really is just that good. It was only in the game for Season 8, and I'm almost 100% sure we will never see the boom bow again. And, oh, also, at the end of this pick, I do want to mention this will include the mythic versions, obviously, TNT's kaboom bow as well. But yeah, overall, really insane weapon. But at the number 1 spot, maybe a dark horse here, one of the inspirations for this video, it is the charged shotgun. I can confidently say the charged shotgun has never scored the number 1 spot in any of my rankings, but I guess there's a first for everything, and here it is at the number 1 spot. I'm just gonna say something, the charged shotgun gets way too much hate. This weapon gets hate from players that do not feel like adapting to the charge mechanic and just want to use a pump shotgun. But once you adapt to that mechanic, once you learn how to play around the charge effect, it arguably can be stronger than just the regular pump shotgun, especially in those mythic versions. Kit's charge shotgun does an insane amount of body shot. I think it's 156 in its fully charged form. For a shotgun to be doing that much damage base, I mean, that's unreal. It's just, you know, it is really hard to learn that charge mechanic and to be good with it. It really, to me, just feels like every time I go up against somebody with a charged shotgun, they're always hitting me for like 90, 100, 110 damage plus. It's insane. This shotgun is so strong. It's just very difficult to use, and that's why I think a lot of players are kind of scared from it and really like to talk bad about it. But I am here for all of you charged shotgun truthers. I'm here to defend the weapon. It is at the number 1 spot today. It is a very good shotgun. All right, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this ranking video. So many of you have commented the every charge item video idea, so I couldn't credit just one person. So if you have ever commented this idea in the past, thank you so much. You guys are always coming up with incredible video ideas for me to use, and this channel would be nowhere even close to where it is today without you guys, so I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Be sure to like and subscribe as always. We are almost at 70,000 subscribers, pushing for 100,000, and with all that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.